Morning. It occurred to me while I was having my morning tea and thinking about my video from yesterday that I released. I wanted to tell you about more about my experience at the Cape because it was just lightly sketched about, highlighted. What I meant by I never fought back. All right, I went on a contract with the manager over all of the New England hostels. And the job was to do the reservations at the reservation desk at the hostel in Truro for all the people who come in and that are there, for a stay from other countries and whatnot. Because, see, I had gone and used American Youth Hostel system all over the United States before traveling, and I was very familiar with it. And a member in good standing. So what I did was I had that contract and I flew up there at my own expense and I had the stay there free for operating the front desk as a um, person that does all the reservations and greets people when they come in. That was the job that I signed up for. When I got there, excuse me, it was about late afternoon. I come in on a bus. No one picked me up at the airport, and I got out. And they wanted to bring me to dinner, but I was very tired. But I went and asked the guy sitting across from me. I wasn't sitting across from the manager that was there, and asked how they met. And he said they met at a paranormal activity meetup. They were into poltergeists. So I just looked at him and just kept eating my food. And I knew it might be a rough summer at that point. Had no idea what would really occur. So while I was there that night, I went up, I went and slept in a bunk bed in a really not very nice room. I would have expected maybe a little bit better. They were blaring music early in the morning. And one of the things she said was, well, when you get here, we'll let you sleep. We won't make any noise. And she blared loud music. She handed me a contract. I was tired, and I had already been arrived up there on a contract with the one in charge of all the hostels. And being, it was the morning behind going on a trip and preparations and all this. I knew it was unusual and it was out of the ordinary, but I signed it. My bad. Because the washing machine's making a really strange noise. Sounds like a tiny clown from a horror movie is laughing. I think it just died on me. Why would it do that? Okay, so you made a liar out of me. You can't hear the sounds it was making. It was really weird. So, anyways, I went and uh, realized that I had made a mistake too because she says right away, like almost the first day or second day, that she can't train me on the front. Someone else is going to do it, and I'm going to make beds and work in the rooms doing like getting the laundry and stuff. And I thought, oh, that's not what I really came here for, I'm thinking. And I have left my car home. So anyway, I went out. It wasn't hours to be working yet. There was no guests really. I had played Scrabble with one guest, and there was some people, and I had made breakfast one morning for. I remember that she wasn't up, like she was attending to the guests, but I was in the kitchen trying to, make things for breakfast. and talk to a nice woman. But anyway, the trip I made that day with the off time was I went and made it a point to go to an appointment I had scheduled at the bus company, public service for Cape Cod Regional, and she hired me. So I went back and told her I'm going to do a driving job instead, being that you really don't want me on the front desk. So I hope you don't mind. I'll just stay here. Well, she had a ranger come and put me out, and I was on the street. And everybody in full swing, summer, June, I believe it was, had a place to stay except me. I had no car, my suitcase. I didn't tell the ranger I was under contract to be here for the summer and I have no other accommodations lined up and I have a very small salary that I had as a teacher assistant at a school and I just don't have the money for Cape Cod hotels. I didn't fight for myself. I didn't explain anything to him. I just got out. So didn't even get told the reason why I was he was called by her. And here she was, she had a boyfriend there and she was giving a massage to him in the living room where people play games. One day I noticed that, the brief stay there. So it was strange. Anyways, it was scary because I had no car to sleep in. I called a couple of hotels and I knew I couldn't afford it. So I was in Provincetown and the gay couples were pushing their dogs in the baby carriage. Everybody was happy. $14 a pound dog candy, biscuits, whatever in the stores. And I'm thinking I'm going to end up sleeping out in this big crowded island in full swing, tourists from all over different countries. Um, and I was afraid. But there was a Jamaican guy with a bicycle, and they had come from Jamaica for vacation there. And he was a real born again person. You could tell he had the Holy Spirit. I told him my dilemma and what happened, how I had no place to stay, and he said, "Well, you can stay where I am." So the Lord always sends people when you're in a dire strait. He's done it over and over again. And I knew he was trustworthy. I just knew that I knew. And I went, and he had like the curtains hanging from the ceiling, like it sort of balloons down, hangs down. And we talked about stuff. And he was in the room. We were in the same room, but I didn't feel any kind of intimidation or fear or any advances. He offered food. I said it was fine. And fell asleep singing hymns and just happy, just joyful. So that was one night, and then I went and found a place with a woman who had an antique shop, and I was renting the room from her. And then I get into a conversation calling from a payphone to tell the lady, I did find accommodations because she said that I had been uninvited when she found out I had asked during one of my training classes at the end of riding the bus I was going to be driving. I asked the girl, I think her last name was Cobb, if I could stay at her place for the night till I found another place to stay. So she must have told on me, and the woman had told me that you don't have a place, blah, blah. And I said no, I thought I'd be staying at the hostel. I'm not now, and I'm looking. And so I called her to tell her the good news, and she wouldn't change her mind now that I had found a place. She was concerned about no transportation, also, which I understand. But I was in good shape still, and I told her I was planning on getting a bicycle and riding to the spot at the bus yard in the mornings. That's how I lost my job with Cape Cod and with the hostel people at the up in Boston area. That's the summer from Heck, and the love was with me. And I stayed at this woman's house paying rent, going broke because I didn't want to reschedule the flight. I thought it might be cheaper to do that, but then I finally took a flight home because my ex ex boyfriend, because I had already had a falling out with him when I called him, told me it was out of the way. I'd have to get a bus over to New Jersey, New York area if I wanted him to take me home. He was picking up his son. But that wasn't it. I was trying to find a bus over to where he would be to pick up his son for summer vacation time with his dad. And what he said was the killer. I mean, what he said to me then was, I said something, well, can't you, maybe just come over a little further over here? It's not that far. And he said that I was just a hitchhiker and a hobo, and I better not try to control the air conditioning in the car or anything. It was his time with his son. And when he said that, I felt like someone just knocked the air out of me. It was just another blow to my self-esteem or ego, whatever you will. That was it. I told him I didn't want to ride home, and I eked it out, and then I went home. Uh, After a while, I realized I'm running out of rent money to give that woman and just hang out in her house and clean her house and vacuum and help her out because she was an older woman. Her son worked at the Stop and Shop as a butcher. Very nice people. It's just that I was just hanging around, not getting anything done. And it was time to just rebook a new flight. So that was my summer of 2006, I believe. I think it was around that time, or 2007. And I didn't get to enjoy the beach or any of the nice spots I liked there at Cape Cod. I just was in the antique shop and in the yard and in the house and spent a lot of money. Well, needless to say, when the boyfriend slash ex boyfriend came over after that with his son and was standing at my back door knocking to come in to have food and time together, I sent him away. That was it. That was it because I couldn't go on with that kind of a hero. So you have a blessed day, everybody. I wanted to just give a little more elaboration on how I ended up singing hymns with a Jamaican guy instead of running a youth hostel in Truro.